Jesus is very clear that what he is giving us is his peace. He's offering us his peace, and he says very clearly, I give it not as the world gives it. And we know worldly peace, and it's a lovely thing, you know. Good health, financial stability, your spouse thinks you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, you know, your children are all doing well in school or are well launched on their careers, etc. But we know we live in a world that's not always 72 degrees and sunny. And this is what Jesus offers us. Peace in the midst of whatever trouble, tribulation we might be going through. And it's his peace, so we look to him first. And it seems to me the best place to see this peace is as Jesus hangs on the cross. As he enters into this certainly physically painful and psychologically humiliating experience, we also see that he enters into even more this, what some writers call God-forsakenness. We hear his cry on the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me? But we hear after that, Father, forgive them. And then we hear, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. And so this peace has something to do with directing our lives to God. We prayed in the collect. And I know I talk about the collect and other prayers, but one of the reasons is because they're so inspiring, but another thing, I really want to get this message home to you guys, that these prayers that we pray really mean something. And we could all pay more attention to the prayers. We pray that what we relive in remembrance, we may always hold to in what we do. So what are we reliving in remembrance at every Mass, certainly, but especially in this time of year, we're remembering Christ's resurrection. And that is really the source, or the conduit maybe, of the peace that Jesus offers us. Not that we won't be subject to the ravages of sin and death, but that we won't be conquered by it. In the resurrection, Jesus conquers sin and death and renders them effectively, eternally powerless. Not powerless to do something to our bodies, but powerless to hurt us ultimately, to hurt our souls. Death, where is your sting? It doesn't mean death, where are you? Death is there, but where is your sting? Right? And so we relive this because in the course of our daily life, what the church wants is that our reliving this in memory will sink in, and when we need it, we will reach for it. And so the ultimate message is, no matter what our difficulties, ill health, the ill health or struggles of our loved ones, death, old age, financial difficulties, the evil done to us by others, that in this is still possible to have peace. Jesus says, my peace I give you. But to have this peace, it's not just sitting there and it will work on its own. I'm convinced we have to reach for it. A couple weeks ago, I shared with you some of my own kind of misstep, or kind of went up, took a wrong turn, some of the difficulties. And the source of really my difficulties there was that I had kind of forgotten to reach for Jesus during these things. I had forgotten to take these things to prayer, really. And that was the source of my discouragement or whatever, you know. But I say to you all the time, and I'll say it for as long as I'm here, if you have time to worry, you have time to pray. If you have time to worry about whatever your situation is, you have time to pray about it. You have time to reach to Jesus and say, Jesus, help me. If you have time, you look out at the world, you say the world's falling apart, you know, and you scroll through, you're reading one story after another of the madness of the world or silliness of our elected officials or whatever, you know. If you have time to do all that, you have time to pray about it. If you have time to complain about what's going on in the world or the country or the church, you have time to pray about it. And prayer may not solve all the things, certainly it may not solve right away all the difficulties around us. Probably there will always be difficulties. But first, it may. I mean, prayer helps situations, but also what it does is keep us on an even keel, keep us peaceful in the midst of these things. Right? And so, in order to have this peace, though, we have to stay connected to Jesus. We have to be women and men of prayer. We have to reach for Him before we reach for the telephone and call our best friend about it, you know. Before we reach for... Actually, I just realized I don't even know how you tweet. But I know you guys send tweets out, whatever it is, I guess to your computer or something. Before you reach for that, then you reach for Jesus in prayer. Right? That will keep you peaceful. And I just want to share with you 3 little quotes from Julian of Norwich, a mystic in the church. He said, "Thou shalt not be tempested," obviously not writing in the 21st century. "Thou shalt not be travailed, thou shalt not be diseased," but he said, "Thou shalt not be overcome." Here's another one. "If there is anywhere on earth a lover of God who is always kept safe, I know nothing of it, for it was not shown to me. But this was shown, that in falling and rising again, we are always kept in that same precious love." And then finally, the one that probably is best known. "All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well." And only a person who stays connected to Jesus can make a statement like this. And only a person who stays connected to Jesus can walk through life's difficulties without being destroyed by them.